What you are witnessing is real. These tarot cards represent the current energies of specific people with a case pending in the Universal Court. Both parties have agreed to dismiss their spiritual beef and have their dispute settled here in our forum, the People's Court Tarot. Thank you for joining me, Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine. Divine Masculine, I do have your complaint over here. So it looks like your complaint is that, well, number one, the Divine Feminine is very much seated in her power, but her power is, well, number one, I think you feel like she's very sexy and very alluring. And let me just say that. I think she makes your nature rise. And I think it means you have to kind of suppress something about yourself when you're near her or when you think about her, because it just makes, it's like she becomes all that you can think about. Yeah, you just keep thinking about her. And your other complaint is that in terms of her, okay, I think you feel that she has lots of emotion, but I think your complaint is that she does not, even though she says that this is such a divine connection and that there is so much love between you, she doesn't act like she feels it. She doesn't act like it. It's like you're saying, well, if you love me so much, you don't act like it. Because I think she's always of two minds about you, and I think that bothers you because you can sense that. There's no consistency. There's just this back and forth, tit for tat kind of energy between you two, and it makes you very wary of whatever's going to come next because you never know what's going to come next with her. I also think in terms of the two minds situation, there's this thing going where when you are exchanging with her, she suppresses her emotions. You know, like when you are in her presence or when you are communicating with her, you never feel like she's giving you all that she could be giving you. You always feel like she's holding something back. But then when she isn't communicating with you, her emotions are so very loud. And it's like you feel her more when you're not near her. But when you are near her, you feel like she's suppressing something. She's holding back from you. So it's like you can never, even when you have her, you can never have her. You know? I think also your issue is that for as much as she seems to care about you, and this may be part of the same issue, but it's like there is just a way that she can be so very cold and distant that is it's like sometimes she has this like great and massive warmth, but sometimes that warmth is just missing, and it upsets you more because you know what is missing. You know how passionate she can be. You know how warm she can be. So when she is the opposite of extreme of that, it's like as if you know, it's like, say you have the flat ground and the ground is fine, but then someone digs a very deep hole but then doesn't fill it. Now there's this space. Now there's this gap where there wasn't one. The absence is the same, but the space is different. It's like she dug a tunnel inside you, and now but she doesn't live in the tunnel. So now it's just open. Which, this may be graphic, but this is that's kind of how women feel if they have sex with someone and then the sex is over and then the guy pulls out really fast and then all of a sudden the woman is open because the man's penis has created this space, but then when he pulls out really quickly it also creates a vacuum, and it just makes you feel like extra empty. Like, even though we don't walk around with dicks inside of us, so like we're always empty in that way, but then when you fill a hole and then you remove something, then it creates a vacuum, it creates a space. So basically you're like, she fucked your life, you know, and then she pulled out too fast. So that That's your complaint. Is I think she was, I don't know, her absence is just very felt right now. Extremely, extremely felt. And I think you might even be a little surprised at yourself at how much her absence is felt. And I think it makes you panic because you, this may be new for you, or it's just something that you really can't just fix, you know? I don't know. I'm not going to get all deep into the case, but it seems like if you could fix it, you would fix it. So by the process of deduction, I'm going to say maybe you don't feel like you can just immediately fix this, because it seems to be a really big problem that she is not filling this void inside you right now. And I think you're just trying to stay calm. You're just trying to stay calm. I think you're also just trying to keep the faith. And that may be part of your complaint too, is, you know, why do you have to keep the faith that she is there, or that she will return, when there's claimed to be so much love here? Now, I will say the only cup that we have out here is your dreams are closer than you think. And that's from a whole nother deck. But the traditional deck that I use, I've used 2 of them. 2 Rider-Waite decks, mine, plus the original Borderless. And there ain't no cups out here, is what I'm trying to say. There's swords. There's, yeah, there's no cups, man. Like, that's your complaint. She's not, there's so much water, right? There's all this water back here in the Judgment card. There's this water behind here in the 2 of Swords. There's this water in here, but see, it's not being offered. It says your dreams are closer than you think. That's what's bothering you, is you know she has so much love for you, and she ain't giving you shit. And you know it's there. And that's fucking with you. It'd be different if you didn't know it was there, but you know it's there and you can't have it. It's right there and you can't have it. She's right there and you can't have her. It burns, Divine Masculine. It burns. So that's your side of the case. Let's move on to the Divine Feminine side. If I have, from what she says, if I have anything to add to what you're saying, I will come back and add it. But for now, I feel like that's a pretty clear complaint. She's there, you can't have her. Okay. What is her response? Divine Feminine, what do you say to this? Why are you there, but the Divine Masculine cannot have you? What's going on? So, I think number one, she's saying that when she was there, this was your energy. Is this true, Divine Masculine? When the Divine Feminine was very much vulnerable with you and naked with you, did you rush at her with a fucking sword? Were you harsh with your words? Were you? You didn't say none of that. Well, Volcano is here. Okay. Anywho. So yeah, she's saying that you were pretty harsh with your words. There's no cups over here either, only swords. There's water, right? And even though it may have caused like difficult emotions for you to stay, even though she's trying to say, like, even though it may have been hard for you to stay in this very cold, logical, not warm, dare I say, aggressive energy, even though it was emotionally difficult for you to do so, she's saying you stayed the motherfucking course. You did that. You made sure that you were as cold to her as possible when she was as vulnerable with you as possible. And so she learned how to cloak herself and put all that she had for you in a cage, so that it could just light her way to figuring out who she should really give it to, because obviously you didn't want it. And so she's saying that she feels that you actually, when she has a lot of energy to give you, a lot of warmth and love to give you, and she gives it to you actively, you absorb that energy like a Wakandan, like Black Panther, and then you, like a vibranium suit, you release it back onto her and it knocks her out, you know? And then she has to sit back down and kind of recover. So she's also saying that, even in terms of the conversation, right? So let's get past the fact that there's no cups out here. There's no love being exchanged. There's lots of water, but no one's exchanging it with each other. And so her little water just dried up to snow, you know, because she had to put her coat on, because she said, motherfucker, you cold. It was cold over there with you, and I don't have enough warmth for the both of us. That's what she said. So, but she said even with the conversation, it was always about fear, control, and suppression. There was no freedom of allowing this relationship or love or connection or whatever to just see where it would or could go. There was no, you did not allow for that. You wanted every interaction to be, you know, micromanaged, examined, controlled, aggressively, suppressed. And I think she's also saying that you made her feel unworthy, that like maybe in your presence, and this could also be part of her issue, is that she's confident enough to know that perhaps you were lying when you treated her this way, but, or at least she hopes so, you know. She's really trying to hold on to her self-esteem with this, but before this next part that I'm about to say. But I think what she's trying to say is like, when she's in her own energy, she feels like this. When she's in your energy, she feels like this. She goes from an empress to a page, like from a queen to like an errand boy, from divine to just a bird. You know what I mean? Like, and then she feels like what happens is somehow you say or do something or withhold something to make her feel like she's less than what she is or who she knows who she is, and then she starts to actually doubt that she is that bitch. But she thinks that it is to control the love, you know? I don't want to say there's fear here on your side, Divine Masculine, but, you know, she's not saying it. She's just looking at it. She's just trying to tell you what happened, you know? And if you feel like even, there's this thing of like, even when she was around you, you couldn't fully get to her. I think she is agreeing with that, because she's saying you were trying to get to her in a negative way, and so she didn't allow it. So yeah, she didn't let you get to her. So there were parts of her that she withheld from you, even in her presence, because she felt like you were egging her on or just trying to undermine her confidence in some way, or restricting her expression in some way, maybe her affection in some way, where she just felt kind of restricted. So she did keep a bit of herself to herself. Now, what she kept to herself was good things, which you are suspecting, but for some reason she's feeling like you didn't allow those good things to flow. So that's why she's been keeping them to herself. Let's see if there's anything else. I think she wants to reiterate, she's feeling kind of feisty. The Divine Feminine wants to reiterate that you like to fuck with people that you can control, and she wants to tell you on very, very straightly and plainly that you cannot fucking ever control her. You can't control her. So you dumb if you try. And those are her words, not mine. But that is what I feel the Divine Feminine is saying with this reading. She's very much standing in her masculine energy by saying that, you know, equal shoulder to shoulder with you, eye to eye with you, chest to chest with you, if you will. And so if you feel like she's in two minds, like sometimes she's in her feminine energy with you and sometimes she's not, you know, if you are under the impression that anything about the Divine Feminine means that it is to be suppressed or controlled or dominated in any way by the Divine Masculine, she wants you to know that you have her fucked up. Now, and then so that you have to go find another Divine Feminine who that is true for, but it's not true for her. So for this Divine Feminine that I'm speaking for, she wants that shit to be known. So I think that's a pretty clear cut case, both sides of the case. Let's go over here to the verdict. So we have Two of Swords. Two of Swords again. Page of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles. Because see, we have the Two of Swords up here in the Divine Masculine's complaint. And this was about the Divine Feminine being of two minds. So the verdict official is saying that yes, the Divine Feminine is doing things in order. And I think that may be very literal. She's doing this in order, right? Because Page of Pentacles to the Knight of Pentacles, that's step by step. It's also 2 Pentacles, which speaks to an expansion of responsibility and expansion of connection. She is very clearly saying, or the verdict is very clearly saying, but it's speaking from the Divine Feminine's perspective. And it is saying that until you know how to handle the responsibility of having a Divine Feminine, she does not know you. And you have to handle the responsibility of having her in order for her to know you. And in order to handle the responsibility, in order for her to know you, you have to do certain things in order. Solid offers, stable offers, that either way you look at it, you do what you say you're going to do. You are who you say that you are. You're solid. So what she's saying is she doesn't know who you are because she's basing who you are off how you act. And since she feels like you've treated her like this, like you did not know her. Because if you knew her, if you recognized her, you would not have treated her the way that you did. So now she's returning the relationship. You know, she's trying to say, or the verdict is trying to say, like, you can't have a relationship with the Divine Feminine, but then treat them like they're not the Divine Feminine. And if you're treating them like, because all it is a relationship. It's not an actual, the only thing that makes it solid, a solid experience, is the relationship, is the exchange. So I think she's just saying she has no choice but to meet you where you're at. And since where you were at was in a space of not acknowledging her of all that she is, then she will not be in the space of acknowledging you as anything. Okay, Divine Masculine, that is your reading. So I'm just going to close out by saying I'm here to remind you, if you have a dispute and you just can't work it out, don't take karmic law into your own hands. You take them to court. Bye-bye.